It all started on a quiet afternoon when the house felt heavier than usual. The kind of heavy that only comes when you're alone, trapped in your thoughts, and seeking some sort of distraction. I had been staring at the ceiling in my room for hours, the faint hum of a lawnmower outside serving as background noise to my spiraling boredom. My sister, Emily, was out with friends, as always. Emily had the kind of life I envied, vibrant, loud, and bursting with color. Meanwhile, I hovered somewhere between the shadows and the mundane, unsure of where I fit into the puzzle of the world. I don't even remember why I wandered into her room that day. Maybe it was the soft lavender scent that drifted from the slightly ajar door. Maybe it was plain curiosity or a subconscious pull toward her aura of confidence. Whatever it was, the moment I stepped inside, it felt like I had entered another world. Her room was a reflection of her, neat yet chaotic, with makeup palettes strewn across her vanity, a half-open jewelry box on the dresser, and her closet door slightly open, revealing rows of colorful outfits and neatly arranged shoes. The shoes caught my eye first. They were like pieces of art, lined up perfectly, each pair telling its own story. Stilettos, sneakers, ballet flats, and boots. Her collection was extensive, but it was one particular pair that drew me in. They were crimson red pumps with a glossy finish and a modest heel, simple yet elegant. Something about them called to me. They weren't flashy like some of her other shoes, but they had a quiet confidence, a personality all their own. I hesitated. I wasn't sure what I was doing, but the idea of trying them on sparked a mixture of excitement and guilt. What if Emily found out? What if someone walked in? But the allure was too strong, and before I knew it, I was slipping off my own sneakers and easing my feet into the heels. To my surprise, they fit perfectly. I stood up, wobbling slightly, and took a cautious step forward. Then another. The sensation was strange yet exhilarating. The added height made me feel powerful, like I was someone else entirely. Someone bolder, freer. I walked around her room, catching glimpses of myself in the full-length mirror. My reflection felt foreign yet oddly familiar, like meeting a part of myself I'd kept buried for too long. That's when the door creaked open, and Emily stood there, her eyes wide with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. My heart stopped. I can explain, I stammered, my face burning as I scrambled to step out of the shoes. But Emily didn't seem angry. Instead, a sly smile spread across her face. Explain what? That you've got good taste. I blinked, unsure of how to respond. She stepped inside, closing the door behind her, and gestured for me to sit down. I hesitated, but her demeanor was disarming. Relax, Danny, she said, sitting cross-legged on the bed. It's not like you stole my car or something. They look good on you. Thanks, I mumbled, staring at the floor, wishing it would swallow me whole. Emily tilted her head, studying me. You've been acting weird lately. Is this something you've always wanted to try? I didn't know how to answer. Part of me wanted to deny everything, to chalk it up to boredom and move on. But another part of me, the part that had been aching to be seen, wanted to tell her the truth. I don't know, I admitted finally. I saw them and thought, maybe wanted to see how it felt, she finished for me. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? Her words hit me like a wave of relief. I nodded, still too embarrassed to meet her gaze. Emily reached over and grabbed my hand, giving it a reassuring squeeze. Tell you what, she said, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Why don't we make a day of it? My friends are going to the mall later, but I can skip. You and I can have a little fashion show right here. A fashion show? I echoed, half in disbelief. Why not? You've already started. Let's see what else we can try. Before I could protest, she was on her feet, rummaging through her closet. She pulled out a sleek black dress and held it up against me, her eyes narrowing in mock concentration. This one, she declared. It'll go perfectly with the shoes. The next hour was a whirlwind. Emily treated me like a living mannequin, experimenting with different outfits, hairstyles, and makeup. At first, I felt ridiculous, but her enthusiasm was infectious. She made me laugh, and gradually, the self-consciousness melted away. By the time she finished, I barely recognized myself. The mirror reflected someone who looked confident, radiant, and unapologetically themselves.
See?
Told you it'd be fun, Emily said, grinning as she admired her handiwork. It's different, I admitted, turning to get a better look at my reflection.
Different is good, she said.
You look amazing, Danny. Something shifted in me then. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was hiding. I felt seen, not just by Emily, but by myself. The day might have ended there, a sweet memory shared between siblings, but fate had other plans. Later that evening, Emily convinced me to take a short walk outside, still dressed in the outfit she'd put together. She said it would be liberating, a way to embrace the moment fully. I was hesitant, but her confidence bolstered mine, and before I knew it, we were strolling down the quiet streets of our neighborhood. That's when we bumped into Mia, one of Emily's friends. Mia was effortlessly cool, with her cropped leather jacket and pixie cut. She raised an eyebrow when she saw us, but didn't say anything at first. Nice look, she said finally, her lips curling into a smirk. You pulling it off better than most guys I know. I froze, unsure whether she was mocking me or being genuine. But Emily stepped in, her arm draped casually over my shoulder. Danny's just trying something new, she said, her tone light but firm. And yeah, they look amazing, don't they? Mia nodded. Definitely. Hey, we're heading to that coffee shop on 5th. You two should join us. Before I could object, Emily agreed. And just like that, I found myself sitting in a dimly lit cafe, surrounded by Emily's friends. To my surprise, they were welcoming, even curious. They asked me questions, complimented my outfit, and treated me like I belonged. It was surreal and nerve-wracking, but also exhilarating. That night, as I lay in bed replaying the day's events, I realized something profound. The shoes had been a catalyst, but the journey was about more than just trying on clothes. It was about stepping into a part of myself I'd been afraid to acknowledge. Emily's support had given me the courage to explore that part, and for that, I was endlessly grateful. The next morning, I found the red pumps neatly placed outside my door with a note attached. It read, "Lucky shoes for my lucky sibling. Wear them whenever you need a boost. Love, Emily." From that day on, those shoes became a symbol of transformation, not just for me, but for the bond one shared with my sister. They weren't just a pair of heels. They were a reminder that sometimes the path to self-discovery starts with a single step in the right shoes. The days following that transformative evening were unlike anything I'd ever experienced. My usual life, the quiet, mundane existence I had grown accustomed to, began to feel different, like it didn't fit quite as snugly as it once did. It wasn't that everything changed overnight, but something within me had shifted, like a tightly closed door that had finally cracked open, letting light spill through. Emily, true to her nature, didn't let the moment fade. Over breakfast the next morning, she brought up what she called the experiment, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. So, about last night, she began nibbling on a piece of toast. I was thinking, maybe we could take this a bit further. I blinked at her, mid-bite of my cereal. Further? What does that even mean? You know, she said, waving her hand as if the idea was obvious. Explore more styles. Figure out what makes you feel comfortable. Maybe even have a full-on day out. Like, not just a walk around the block, but really put yourself out there. The thought made my stomach flip. Emily, last night was fun, sure, but I'm not sure I'm ready for something that big. What if people what? She interrupted, her tone soft but firm. Judge you? Stare at you? Say something dumb? Newsflash, Danny. People judge everyone all the time. You can't live your life worrying about that. What matters is how you feel. I stared into my cereal, her words sinking in. Emily always had a way of cutting through my doubts, planting seeds of courage where I thought none could grow. The idea of venturing out as this new version of myself terrified me, but it also excited me. What if she was right? What if it wasn't about what other people thought, but about finding a way to feel comfortable in my own skin? Okay, I said finally, my voice barely above a whisper. But baby steps? Emily grinned like a Cheshire cat. Baby steps, it is. The next baby steps came a few days later when Emily declared it was time for me to have my own wardrobe. "We can't just keep raiding my closet," she said, holding up one of her favorite blouses that I had borrowed during our makeshift fashion shows. "As much as I love sharing, you need your own stuff. Things that suit you." The idea of shopping for women's clothes was nerve-wracking, to say the least. I couldn't imagine walking into a store, browsing through racks of dresses and skirts, and casually picking something out as if it were no big deal. But Emily, as always, had a plan.
"We'll go somewhere downtown," she said.
"A boutique where no one knows us. And if you're worried about anyone being weird, don't be. Trust me, the world's a lot more open-minded than you think." Despite my nerves, I agreed. We arrived at the boutique on a quiet Thursday afternoon. The shop was small but cozy, with racks of clothing arranged by color and style. A cheerful saleswoman greeted us as we walked in, her warm smile immediately putting me somewhat at ease. "Shopping for yourself?" she asked, glancing between me and Emily.
"Yep."
Emily answered without hesitation, nudging me forward. "My sibling's looking for something new. Something that really pops." I felt my cheeks heat up, but the saleswoman didn't bat an eye. Instead, she led us toward a section of casual yet chic outfits, chatting amiably about fabrics and fits. With Emily's encouragement and the saleswoman's expertise, I soon found myself in the fitting room with an armful of clothes. Dresses, blouses, skirts, even a pair of fitted jeans that Emily swore would look amazing on me. The first few outfits felt strange, like I was wearing someone else's skin. But as I tried on more pieces, something shifted. I started to see myself in a new light, not as someone pretending to be someone else, but as someone discovering a part of themselves that had always been there, waiting to be acknowledged. When I stepped out in a flowing emerald green dress that hugged my frame just right, Emily's jaw dropped. "Now that is a look," she said, clapping her hands together. "You look incredible, Danny." I turned to the mirror, hardly recognizing the person staring back. The dress brought out the color in my eyes, and the way it draped over my shoulders made me feel elegant. For the first time, I didn't feel like I was playing dress up. I felt real. We left the boutique with several bags in tow, my heart lighter than it had been in weeks. As we walked back to the car, Emily turned to me with a mischievous grin. "So, how about we test drive one of those outfits tonight?" "Tonight?" I asked, startled. "What's happening tonight?" "Mia's hosting a little get-together," she said nonchalantly. "Just a small group of friends. It'll be the perfect opportunity to dip your toes into the water." I hesitated, my mind immediately conjuring up worst-case scenarios. What if someone made fun of me? What if I felt out of place? What if— "Hey," Emily said, interrupting my spiral. She placed a hand on my shoulder, her expression serious. "You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. But if you want to try, I'll be right there with you. And so will Mia. She already thinks you're awesome, by the way." I let out a nervous laugh. "She barely knows me." "Doesn't matter," Emily said. "She sees what I see. A badass in the making." That evening, I stood in front of my bedroom mirror, wearing the emerald green dress and the red pumps that had started it all. My hands trembled slightly as I adjusted my hair, which Emily had styled into soft waves. She had also helped me with makeup, just a touch of foundation, eyeliner, and a nude lipstick that complemented my look without feeling overdone. "You ready?" Emily asked, peeking into the room. "Not really," I admitted. "But let's do it anyway." The party was held at Mia's apartment, a cozy space filled with warm lighting and eclectic decor. When we arrived, I was immediately enveloped by a wave of chatter and laughter. Mia greeted us at the door, her eyes lighting up when she saw me. "Danny," she exclaimed, pulling me into a hug. "Look at you. You look stunning." "Thanks," I mumbled, my cheeks flushing. As the night went on, I began to relax. Mia's friends were welcoming and easygoing, and not once did I feel out of place. In fact, a few of them even complimented my outfit, asking where I had gotten the dress. For the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged, not as someone trying to fit in, but as someone simply being themselves. At one point, Mia pulled me aside. "You know," she said, her tone thoughtful, "I don't think I've ever seen Emily this protective of anyone." She really loves you, doesn't she? Yeah, I said, glancing across the room at my sister, who was laughing at something one of her friends had said. She's pretty amazing. You're lucky to have her, Mia said with a smile. But don't forget, you're pretty amazing too. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of self-discovery. Emily and I grew closer than ever, bonding over late-night conversations, shared fashion tips, and even the occasional argument over who got to borrow what from whose closet. I started experimenting more with my style, finding pieces that felt uniquely me. And while the journey wasn't without its challenges, awkward stares from strangers, moments of self-doubt, I knew I wasn't alone. One evening, as I slipped into bed after a particularly eventful day, I found myself reflecting on everything that had happened since that fateful afternoon in Emily's room. The red pumps still sat in the corner, their glossy surface catching the light from my bedside lamp. They were more than just shoes to me now. They were a symbol of courage, growth, and the bond one shared with my sister. I reached for my phone and sent Emily a quick text. Thanks for everything. I don't know what I'd do without you. Her reply came almost instantly. You'd do exactly what you're doing now, being awesome.
Love you, Danny.
Smiling, I set my phone down and closed my eyes, feeling a sense of peace I hadn't known before. I didn't have all the answers yet, and I wasn't sure what the future held. But for the first time in my life, I felt like I was heading in the right direction, and it all started with a pair of red shoes. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.